Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. You join us today for the fourth instalment of Blood and Guts, and one that will prove to be quite interesting. In terms of matchups, a lot of it has been kind of rushed together, but it is because predominantly on Dynamite and Rampage I've been trying to book 6 different tournaments for the own. So basically having 4 male group stages because of the limited time I had to do it over April and May to have the finals at Double or Nothing, and 2 extended women's brackets as well. If you want, I'll touch on it at the end of the episode, but yeah, basically that took up a lot of time. But a lot of this show is quite storyline driven. It really is, I wouldn't say it's filler, but it really is putting us in a position to have these stacked card at Double or Nothing. And I've really been in like a wave of momentum in terms of booking. I've got a lot done, so a lot of stuff's flowing. So I'm really intrigued to see how this goes. I don't think I'll get anywhere near a 100 because the main event might flop, and I'll explain a few reasons why that'll be. But we've put all the stuff there. We're going to be broadcasting it in England. We're going to be at Wembley. I thought we'll try somewhere different because nowhere in Canada is big enough, and USA is in an absolutely massive decline of wrestling popularity. We're going to be in AEW Plus, and we're going to be on Cablevision, so nobody will really watch it in Cablevision. It'll mostly be AEW Plus. So obviously the first Blood and Guts happened IRL. Our first in-game Blood and Guts saw Hangman, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk and the Lucha Bros, I miss you Phoenix, defeating Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, Malachi Black, Matt Jackson, and who else? Because I would have assumed that was Nick Jackson. I thought it would have just come up as the Young Bucks, so that was confusing. We had Ronda Rousey and Tessa Blanchard defeating the Inspiration, Jade Cargill and Raquel and Chris Statlander and Ruby Soho, Sammy Guevara defeating Kevin Steen, and Britt Baker defeating Hikaru Shida. Still unsure what I'm going to do with Tessa. Like most people are kind of just blackballing her, which is fine, just get her away, but at the same time, in game she is in a relationship with Wardlow, so I don't know if I should maybe play off that relationship. Just looking as well, Darby Allin, Sami Zayn and Jon Moxley MJF. That's stacked. That's really stacked. The last instalment, we opted for a main event of Moxley, Kingston and Proud and Powerful defeating A Boy and His Dinosaur, Bryan Danielson and Prince Devitt in a total mayhem match. I think I know why the reason that is. Basically Bryan Danielson has morale, and or morals I should say, sorry, and doesn't want to be in a high risk match, hence why we technically can't do the War Games match for him and his faction. But yeah, we've basically just made it a 5-on-5 elimination, but there is a legit War Games match for the women. Hangman defeated MJF, Nakamura over CM Punk, he's been such a flop in my opinion in this, Nakamura. AJ over Cody, we've had AJ over a year already. Ace and Christian against FTR. And just other matches there, Sting and Darby against Zayn and Steen, and we did have the War Games match with Cole Fish in the Honor Era and Tony Storm over Shayna Baszler. But we're all about the now, the present, well the future technically, since it is the 4th week of April 2024. But sit back, relax, a lot's going to happen here and I'll try and explain it to the best of my abilities because a lot can go down off stream on the random episodes of Dynamite. On Rampage, of course, the women's show Power Hour, and I might be having a 4th show just to help develop workers that aren't getting on the main cards because a lot of people are missing out, despite a 3-hour show, a 2-hour show, and the women getting a 1-hour show but broadcast every week, but it's 2 shows it's 2 shows recorded, then a break, then 2 shows recorded, that kind of thing. Anyway, let's jump in it. Blood and Guts 4. Let's do it. So, we only managed to attract 62,115 people at Wembley Stadium, built in the year 2007, and you know that shit is going to go down because I haven't started with a hype sports entertainment angle. We are straight into the action, and that action sees about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. And it was the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, our alliance belt on the line, as Andrade El Idolo defeated Swerve Strickland in 1918 with a hammerlock DDT, giving Andrade his first defence of the belt. 81, I felt like Andrade's a super champion to have here, can have some kick-ass matches, and it properly gets Swerve to the attention of our audience. We've also got some qualifiers in the, well, not some qualifiers, just some group stage matches in the Owen. So some of these will occur over the night. I'll explain what each bracket means. So the Owen Dynamite F is basically the Owen, the Dynamite brand, females. Simple. But in this matchup, we had Hikaru Shida defeat Riho in 11:32 with a full metal muffler. We're going full on Hikaru Shida push here. She's had a very successful group stage. As I say, we'll round it up at the end of the episode as well to give an idea of who looks likely to win, because everything will be concluded with the finals, of course, being a double or nothing. But a good one here for Hikaru Shida. Right on the backstage assault, we've had a feud at the moment that's been going between the women's tag team champions Jade Cargill, Charlotte, alongside the Sisters of Sin, as they're going to be called, Saraya Knight and Elayna Black. And we have Charlotte and Jade Cargill beat the crap out of Saraya, meaning she won't be able to compete in tonight's match. Because of her previous injury, or the injury she has in real life with her neck, she is not physically able to compete in a high risk match, possibly similar to Bryan, but we have taken her out with this attack and there will be a new partner for the babyface side, so 69 for that. We move on to our Lucha Underground Gift of the Gods Championship match. And we had a decent matchup with the recently turned heel Penta El Zero M defeating Kana in 13:58 with the Fear Factor. New champion, 69 for Penta. We went full on in the heel turn and he is just going to have a whale of a time in the Lucha Underground segments of Dynamite. And it also allows us to have some kick-ass intergender matches when you consider Kana with a 76 here and Penta with a 53. She didn't quite have enough title defences. I think this would have been the one that would have garnered her a Lucha Underground Championship match against Garza Jr., but not to be in this stage, as Penta will now need 3 defences to allow him to challenge Garza. We then had the 0X Championship on the line. It was great wrestling and good heat, with Sammy Guevara defeating Ricochet in 18:41 with a handful of tights, meaning that Sammy is the new 0X champion. 79 here, hampered by the lack of psychology. So my reason for putting this match up where I did and putting the belt on Sammy, Ricochet's for the year-long reign, which was good, but I just felt like a lot of times I was forgetting about the belt, and I really feel that having somebody like Sammy's overness on the belt will have a lot of kick-ass matches. It also keeps him the hell away from the main event feuds, while he's obviously still in the bad books with Adam Cole, because that relationship is practically irreparable. So good from Ricochet, as I say, he can move to other stuff, he can be a contender, but Sammy will rise with the X Championship going forward. And then we have a celebration between Sammy Guevara and his girlfriend in game, which is Britt Baker. It would have been nice to do this with Tay Conte, but it's Britt in game, so we'll continue to play on that. And that is a 77 rated segment. We then had the Tag Team Championships on the line, of course, newly won Private Party. They defended against FTR and a win in 11:35 when Isaiah Cassidy pinned Cash Wheeler. Private Party making defence number 1 of the tag team belts. 69, not too bad. So the actual plan here was meant to be Private Party and the Young Bucks versus FTR and the Fatu Brothers. Unfortunately, it's different from real life. It was Jey Uso who went down for torn quad. It was meant to be a year. Surgery's put it down to 3 months. So we're going to take obviously the Uso, the Fatus away. We have signed Naomi. That was a very convenient contract that came up. So we are going to push something with with John and Trinity going forward while we wait for Jey to come back. But we still have a stacked tag division. There was still the heat between Private Party and FTR, and it's allowed me to utilise the Young Bucks in our main event of the evening. We then had the TBS Championship on the line, and it was a decent matchup that saw Cassie Lee defeat Thunder Rosa in 7:31 with a leg sweep DDT. Cassie Lee makes defence number 6 of the TBS Championship. So a 65 here. It's not too bad. Cassie's got the psychology, but I don't feel the technical stats on that are quite where I'd like her to be. So I do think her days are numbered as TBS champion. Thunder Rosa though has got a gimmick that's getting stale. But when you're stale, you're frustrated, you decide to then take it out on the champion with Thunder Rosa. Never mind foreshadowing, this is a straight ass heel turn on segment 1. She's pissed off she's lost to Cassie Lee, and that 63 segment sees a sharp turn that was a complete success. I feel like my my Rampage women's division on the heel side is quite lacking. I think it's Rampage. It's basically imbalanced. One side is like so many great heels, one has barely any. So I felt like the women's side could take that. So Thunder Rosa, and I mean the matches she could have with some of her baby faces it's just fantasy booking galore. Cannot wait. So we'll see what happens here. But she picks up an L here, but gets a bit of heat back with the heel turn. We then have Chris Jericho saying to, obviously, Saraya and her team she cannot compete tonight. So, although the text says the company isn't responsible for the doctor's orders, it was just the closest I could find them saying, doctor says you can't wrestle in this match, you've been attacked, we need to get you a replacement, we'll allow that up to your team to get that replacement for later tonight. Simple, effective, 61. We then had a good matchup that saw Ricky Starks defeat Drew Galloway in 1845 with the Buster Keaton. And 80. This is going to be one of a few matches tonight that really didn't have much of a programme behind it. However, it was a promise that was due to expire. So, obviously, I'm going to utilise that the best I can and get the best profit from it, which is at pay-per-view level. We are going to build some programmes coming off of them though. So, we'll start picking up a very big win over Drew. We'll see what that means later on. Because first off, Calvin Tankman does the exact same to John Moxley as he wins in 14-01 with a Tankman driver. So, 72 is not great. Calvin's had a very poor own tournament. He's lost a lot, but I just felt like Moxley could give him the win, a cheap boost in popularity, and somebody like Moxley can easily gain that back, in my opinion. So, good win for Team Taz, 2 victories this evening. We then move on to the Rampage side of things, and we had a decent matchup that saw Mercedes Varnado defeat Donna Purrazzo in 14-11 with the bank statement. A very hotly contested bracket, it must be said, in the 0-2 that I've got some victories behind them, but it was Mercedes Varnado who picks up the win here in a pretty stellar 74 rated matchup. We then cut backstage with Ricky Starks, Calvin Tankman, and of course the former TNT champion Powerhouse Hobbs, and they're kind of looking at each other going, Hobbs, you lost your championship to Keith Lee, we're picking up dubs, maybe it's time we put possibly Team Taz behind us and we move on to other things. So I'm teasing the break of Team Taz. There is big plans for most of them, but it is going to take a bit of time for that to come to fruition. More on that as the show goes on, because you'll see where people are going to side with, because a lot of stuff will happen between now and Double or Nothing, so there is stuff I can kind of give an idea of where I'm going to go, but I need other stuff to be covered off first before we get there. Moving along, we had that War Games match, and just to confirm, the replacement for Saraya was Jamie Hayter. So we had a decent match up here. We had Elayna Black, Jamie Hayter, Arloni from Stardom, Starlight Kid, Io Shirai and BB Ford defeat Charlotte, Jade Cargill, Ronda Rousey, the women's champion Demi, Bennett and Bayley Rose in a 5-on-5 War Games match in 21-29 when BB Ford submitted Ronda Rousey and basically just tried to Ronda out the door. So she's getting really unhappy, but hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later and she can just continue on in Ring of Honor. But 76 is pretty good. So my plan was, there's a lot in Stardom that are loyal to Stardom and we can't get them. However, I was thinking, if we've got a loan deal with them, if we keep using them and they get over enough, they may want to outgrow Stardom and not sign a contract because the company could be too small for them, or they could financially bankrupt Stardom so I could get who I want anyway. So the plan is we're going to loan them in and just try it and give some more fantasy matches to an ever stacked roster. So it's a heel plan, but it may come to fruition. But a good win for the baby faces nonetheless. Let me know what you think of my logic. Into the Owen Dynamite Group B, and Jungle Boy picked up a win over 10 in 13:43 with a snare trap. A 70 here is pretty okay. Jungle Boy's pop cap, which is a shame, but both guys have great chemistry and it shows in their performance. We then had a little video. Now this is going to sound so strange, right? But this is what I want to do, and this is a problem when you just watch random stuff on YouTube. So I'm probably going to bring Abaddon back from developmental, and the group's going to be Danhausen and Abaddon. But basically here, Wyndham is walking backstage Danhausen bumps into him, and Danhausen curses him, but he says to him, "Oh, you will be a clown." It's going to sound crazy, but hear me out here. I'm going to repackage Wyndham as Windy the Clown. And I know that sounds mad, but I'm going full on evil doink with him. And I just feel like when he shaves the beard off, and you know the Firefly Funhouse, what's together, they kind of segments, we can do that with him and just make him a complete lunatic. So like a hybrid of like that character, Doink, and the Joker, effectively, is what we're going for. Bit of 59, but Wyndham has been cursed into a clown. That sounds so mental, and my imagination is wild, but there we go. Next up, we had another matchup in the Promises. And it was a good matchup. Ilya Dragunov defeating Prince Devitt in 12:34 with Grubos Moscow following an interference from MJF. It's probably pronounced horribly wrong. 83, great chemistry between both these guys. So you're wondering to yourself why MJF interfered? Well, we had the whole program with Devitt and MJF. The plan was for Demon Balor versus MJF here, but I felt like something else popped up that MJF would be interested in. I can blow off Devitt versus MJF without going to the Demon character just yet. It lets me cover that promise because big things are happening for MJF. Wait till you see what we've got in store for Double or Nothing. So after the matchup, Devitt's in the ring, MJF just lays a beat down. But there is a save, but it does turn into a long talk segment, so it's an 83, because we have recently signed to AEW, completely unrealistic. We have someone that's just going to be here to help develop psychology stats, because psychology is an 85. He's here to wrestle some okay matches, and he's here to make peace as a peacemaker, as John Cena is in AEW. I had a chance to sign him and I thought, do you know what? His psychology was so high. Let's just do it. Let's just bring him in. It is a completely fantasy booking scenario now. We are not having any form of realism here. We're going all out, no pun intended, for the 100 scores, whatever we can do. So John Cena just basically talks MJF down about the stuff with Devitt and just says he'd been watching from afar. He sees that you think quite a bit about yourself. Let me just remind you just who I am, John Cena, and I represent every one of these people in the crowd, and I can show that despite, you know, thinking I was doing the right thing, people hating me for it, in the long term, you know, people realised I was a good guy, and I know for a fact that MJF, you're the complete opposite. You're a piece of crap, and your actions are horrible. And I'm going to teach you a lesson or two, kid, and then pats him in the back. So Cena, the MJF, Double or Nothing, cannot wait. And there's my 100. That's why we didn't have the opener. Chasing that. And the main event for the evening was a decent matchup. It saw the AEW World Champion Adam Cole, the Young Bucks and ReDRagon defeat the Danielson Fight Dojo, the team of Bryan Danielson, Claudio, Daniel Garcia, Stu Grayson and Walter, in an elimination match in 24/7, because obviously we couldn't do it because of Bryan, and it was an 82, which is pretty good. My worry was obviously the likes of, you know, Garcia, Grayson, not quite ready for main event stuff. Claudio is probably not as over as we want, and Bobby Fish as well, because he's taken a lot of losses, but I needed somebody to put in, and I just felt like it would have been a weird dynamic if I went with Hangman instead of Bobby Fish, so we opted for that. The Young Bucks, of course, helping their friend, but of course, we still need to clear up, you know, the House of Black's attack on Kenny Omega. So the fact that the Bucks are helping Adam Cole, what are they going to do about Kenny? And one big thing as well, by the way, Walter isn't the most over yet. He's banging out 88 performances. What the hell is he going to put in when he gets over? Walter could be the ace up my sleeve to get me that 100 rated match. But Cole picks up the win. He's world champion. He's defeated one of his nearest challengers here. Who the hell is going to pop up next? Because we end the show with a beatdown from Cody and All Ego, Ethan Page. Only a 76, Adam Cole looked good. Cody wants in the World Championship. And I'm just going to confirm your main event for Double or Nothing will be a triple threat match at the moment between Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson and Cody Rhodes. I'm still unsure what I'm going to call the faction of Cody Rhodes. I am toying with the idea of the Magnificent Collective, because my reasoning for this is I really want to call a group Magnificent Seven. The Magnificent Seven in WCW were called the Elite first. The Elite's obviously the name of Kenny with the Bucks. So I thought, well, Magnificent for that collective, Nightmare Collective, put it together. It's going to be a lot of guys that just feel like they are walking about in suits, basically. So the plan is, at the moment, I have 3 members identified, possibly 4. We're going to be looking at Cody Rhodes. We're going to be looking at All Ego Ethan Page. We're eventually going to be looking at Absolute Ricky Starks. And we're going to be looking at Richard Holiday. So that's 4 at the moment. So we finished the show a 90. And I think, considering the only thing over a 90 was Cena and MJF, everything else was a bit eh. And the fact we're in the UK, so the pop wouldn't have been as high in the US. I think that's a complete success, all things considered. But it just goes to show you, there's all that, and there's still much more that didn't make the card. You think no Nakamura, no CM Punk, no Omega, no AJ Styles, no Hardy Boys, Hangman, Becky Quinn. So many missed out. Eddie Kingston, Proud and Powerful. What an in-depth roster we have here. But then again, Tony can get shit in real life for not booking people. God, I'd hate to see the crap I would get for my roster length. But we're just going to jump in here to the main screen. I want to just give you an idea of what's going down with the tournaments. So fantastic reviews, that's good to see there. I don't know if there is anything there that directly affects us. Andrew Everett's left the TDF, that's fine. Let him go, see if he gets anywhere else. Arhennis, 37, that's too old. Turning into Vince McMahon with that assumption. So, just to confirm, it is where is Nakano? Shimmer. These are basically people that come through as first refusals. I just give them like 3-year deals. I think, are you in Shimmer as well, Koi? No, that's fine. And Harlow O'Hara, that's fine, 75%, keeps everybody happy. Viper's were just given an extra 3 months to 2 more talents that have been through the first refusal. WWE are trying to sign Red Velvet. She may be considered for that Cody Rhodes stable. So just a few things here. Andrew Everett we know is gone. AJ Gray has gone. We'll see what he wants to do. Maybe take him back at one point. Danny Jordan, developmental contract. She's only 25, so there's plenty of time for her to develop. So again, we'll just apply the template of the 3-month contract. See how she improves. Plenty of time at that age. Honma's got a blown eardrum. Pete Dunne. Deonna Purrazzo is pretty good in the ring. Jerry Lynn. He likes what Riho is doing. Kid's only getting better. And Starlight Kid is a good worker. She's worth getting behind. So she's 27 over in the UK, the US, sorry. Obviously Japan is where she's mostly over. We've used her 3 times. So we've gave her a win over Candy Rose. I actually gave her a blockbuster main event on Dynamite, Rampage, sorry, alongside Hangman and Adam Cole against MJF, Andrade and Demi, and Charlotte. And obviously that 5-on-5 match. But I think it's her that needs to pick up the victories to get the bigger scores. But I think she's got a few more appearances left in her deal. Where are we? 1 week, 2 appearances. Well, 5 months and 1 week. So we can utilise her, but we'll just keep bringing her in on loan. And as I say, maybe she'll get too popular, but Stardom can't afford her. No pay-per-view buys, but 24.02 TV rating. So quickly to conclude, I'll need to rush this because my dinner's nearly ready. Tournaments. Here we go. So we have the Owen Dynamite female. You can see at the moment there that's your 8 combatants on that, and it's likely going to be either Layla Hirsch or Hikaru Shida who will be in the final. And on Rampage you can see there Chelsea Green, Mercedes Varnado and Mies Saruga all have 12 points with various amount of matches remaining. 2 matches for Chelsea and Mercedes, 3 matches left for Mies Saruga. You can see other people in there, Statlander, Purrazzo, Nakajima, to name a few. In the Owen, basically the 2 group winners will face each other to face the winner of the other 2 group winners. So we're pretty much looking likely to be Tyler Black or Ethan Page in one final. And on the other side, it is already confirmed that that will be Jungle Boy. So one of them will progress to the final. And on the other side, it's looking likely to be Johnny Gargano or Wheeler Yuta in the final. and they'll be probably up against the likes of, well, plenty of options here. Could be Zack Sabre Jr., could be Eli Dragunov, could be Jay Lethal. That's a pretty mental group, that. We're all looking forward to it. So lots of things happening, but it's just going to mean that Owen will see winners of that face that, and then the winners of those two against each other to face the winners of that. It made sense. I didn't have the time to do like an 8 or a 10 person round robin. It had to be 2 6-1s, and then, because obviously I've only got 4 each brand left going forward. So that's us. Cheers for watching. Hope you enjoyed the pretty surprising episode. I hope it covered a lot in terms of storylines, but it allows me to butter through now 4 weeks in game of making sure the storylines give us the best double or nothing as possible. Hopefully that triple threat match is stellar. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.